Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Watching Washington. It's Friday, October 25th. I'm Kyle Herschel.
And I'm Regina Ortiz. In today's news, we will first focus on the relationship between North Korea and Russia. North Korea and Russia have built increasingly friendly ties since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin shared that there is evidence suggesting North Korean troops had moved to Russia. He said, quote, "We are seeing evidence that there are North Korean troops that have gone to Russia. What exactly they're doing remains to be seen. These are the things that we need to sort out," unquote. U.S. officials have revealed plans to release intelligence this Wednesday, showing thousands of North Korean troops moving by ship to training areas in Russia. Interestingly, the U.S. doesn't believe these troops have reached Ukraine just yet, but the movements have certainly raised alarms about a potential escalation in the ongoing conflict.
If they're co-belligerents, their intention is to participate in this war on Russia's behalf, that is a very, very serious issue, and it will have impacts not only in Europe, it will also impact things in the Indo-Pacific as well.
This comes at a dangerous time for Ukraine. Russia has been inching forward on multiple fronts, with counterattacks in Kursk and almost daily aerial assaults. Just hours before a recent visit, Russia launched an attack involving 116 drones and 3 missiles. In response, Ukraine's president is now calling for a strong reaction from allies as the situation continues to unfold.
These 5 people were killed and 22 injured in a, quote, terrorist attack in Turkey on Wednesday. According to CNN, the attack was at the headquarters of Turkey's state-run aerospace company, Turkish Aerospace Industries, or TUSAS, located on the outskirts of Turkey's capital, Ankara. According to the Turkish vice president, 4 TUSAS employees and a taxi driver who drove the attackers to the facility are among the dead. The Turkish Interior Minister, Ali Yerlikaya, added that 2 attackers, a man and a woman, were killed. The minister identified the attackers as members of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or the PKK, a Kurdish separatist group classified as a terrorist organization by the U.S., the EU, and Turkey. Following this attack, the Turkish Defense Ministry said it struck PKK targets in northern Iraq and Syria. The Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, said that the Turkish military shelled Kobani City and Tal Rifat, killing 2 civilians and injuring 6 others. While the U.S. distinguishes between the PKK and the SDF, Turkey considers both groups part of the same organization.
The swing state race between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris is virtually tied, based on new polls that came out on Thursday. Harris is tied with Trump at 49% in Georgia, according to a Marist poll, while she leads in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Nevada. With only 15 days left to win over voters in swing states, Harris is targeting a small but potentially decisive group of voters, Republicans turned off by former President Donald Trump. Harris is focused on vote-rich counties in the key swing states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, making an aggressive bid to win over independents and moderate Republicans with Liz Cheney by her side. Harris has taken the stance of warning voters about the dangers that Trump poses.
There are things that he says that will be the subject of skits and laughter and jokes. But words have meaning coming from someone who aspires to stand behind the seal of the President of the United States.
Harris is trying to appeal to those undecided and to persuadable voters in places like Oakland County, Michigan, outside of Detroit, including those who backed Nikki Haley in the Republican primary. At the same time, Harris plans to campaign in Houston, Texas, where she will refocus her campaign against former President Donald Trump on reproductive care, which Democrats see as a make-or-break issue this year. She plans to visit an event on Friday with women who have been affected by the state's abortion laws, after she spends time in Georgia, another state with restrictive abortion laws. Harris plans to make these non-traditional visits to capture the attention of voters who are overwhelmed with campaign ads and run-of-the-mill campaign events.
Of the 7 swing states, former President Donald Trump holds a marginal lead in Arizona, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina. According to Marist polls, Trump leads 50% to Harris's 49% in Arizona. Trump leads 49% to Harris's 48% in Pennsylvania. And in addition, Trump is up 50% to Harris's 48% in North Carolina, where he recently campaigned. The former president hosted an event in Greensboro, where he criticized Harris for, quote, taking a day off, so close to what he says is the most important election in the history of our country.
Think of this. We have 14 days to the most important election in the history of our country. It's actually only important for that. For us, it's important. For them, I don't think it's that important. I really don't think it's that important. But you know what she did? She took a day off. How do you take a day off? 14 days, you don't take days off, right?
Trump is set to make final stops in swing states over the course of the next 10 days. The former president will be making appearances in Las Vegas, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, and Wisconsin.
In several states, early voting has begun, and there are many factors to watch in this early voting cycle. The information provided by Catalyst and CNN shows that as of 15 days before the election, early voting turnout is lower compared to 2020 in 36 of the 37 states evaluated, Tennessee being the only state in which early voter turnout is higher. In regards to party affiliation, Democrats have cast a smaller share of ballots this year opposed to 2020 in the swing states of Arizona, North Carolina, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. In these and other swing states, voters over the age of 65 have seen an increase in vote shares opposed to 2020, while other age groups have seen similar or lower vote shares. In addition, trends show that white voters have seen an increase in early voting share in these swing states except Nevada. Black, Latino, and Asian vote shares are showing similar trends to those observed in 2020. We will continue to keep you updated on these trends, especially in the swing states, as Election Day grows closer.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention confirmed a connection between McDonald's Quarter Pounder Burger and a recent E. coli outbreak in 10 confirmed states. Officials say tainted meat has been the culprit of at least 49 cases of E. coli in 10 different states, with at least 1 confirmed death. A majority of the reported cases have appeared in Nebraska and Colorado. State epidemiologists are now investigating both the beef and onions used in the Quarter Pounder. The president of McDonald's USA released a statement saying, quote, "Other beef products are not impacted."
Up next, big developments from the Georgia Supreme Court that could affect election laws.
Plus, Boeing workers are on strike. We'll discuss the impact on the aviation industry. Stay with us. More Watching Washington next.
The program allows students to finish their bachelor's degree and also get an online master's degree that overlap during their last year at Purdue.
Students can more quickly work towards a graduate degree while concurrently starting their professional careers.
The online program allows them to kind of go at their own pace, and so they're not having to abide by the academic calendar.
And our goal is that this would make you even more compelling for your next opportunity in the workforce.
Georgia Supreme Court has upheld a block on controversial new election rules passed by allies of Donald Trump. On Tuesday, the state's high court ruled against Republicans who asked for the rules to be reinstated. Early voting is underway in the critical battleground state. The conservative majority court won't let the election board enforce the rules. Democrats and others who filed lawsuits the rules argued the board exceeded its authority when it passed them. One of the rules would have required county election officials to conduct a, quote, reasonable inquiry, unquote, into election results before certifying them. Another would have required officials to hand count the number of ballots cast at each polling place on Election Day. The justices declined to pause a decision issued by a lower court judge.
This week, former Abercrombie CEO Mike Jeffries was arrested on sex trafficking charges. Jeffries served as the clothing brand's CEO from 1992 to 2014. An associate of Jeffries, James Jacobson, was employed by Jeffries and his partner, Matthew Smith, to recruit, interview, and hire men to perform commercial sex acts for them. According to the indictment, they were allegedly enticed into the acts with modeling and career opportunities at Abercrombie. Over at least a 7-year period, starting in late 2008, federal prosecutors said the trio allegedly paid dozens of men to travel around the world to engage in sex acts.
We have substantial evidence. We have travel records, we have financial records, we have testimony of victims and other witnesses. So we think we have a lot of evidence that corroborates the charges in this case.
Jeffries is currently out on a $10 million bond and under house arrest at his Palm Beach court. He is expected to appear in court in New York today.
A strike involving about 33,000 workers continues today after union members rejected a proposed contract deal yesterday. This ongoing strike is expected to keep Boeing's airplanes manufacturing operations at nearly a complete halt. Boeing's latest contract offer included a 35% wage increase over 4 years, an improvement from its previous offer of 25%. However, many union members say the proposal still falls short of their demands, particularly a call for the reinstatement of pensions. Boeing's CEO says he remains committed to resetting the company's relationship with its workers and regaining trust in the airline industry. Boeing's third quarter earnings report released yesterday revealed a net loss of over $6 billion. That said, the company's financial challenges are not only a result of the strike, but also Boeing has been struggling with losses since its second fatal 737 MAX crash in 2019.
Looking now to our race to watch, we go to the northern part of the country to the state of Montana. Democratic incumbent Jon Tester is running to stay in his seat for another 6 years, but political outsider Tim Sheehy has proven a real challenge for the senator. Both candidates deeply appeal to the veteran population of the state, holding one of the highest veteran populations in the country. Tester runs with his experience as chair of the Veteran Affairs Committee, and Sheehy runs as a combat-wounded Navy SEAL who received the Purple Heart Medal, among other combat decorations. But the politically inexperienced Sheehy has had an uphill battle fighting incriminating headlines since summer. In a piece from the Washington Post, Sheehy's combat wounded status was called under question after medical records were revealed to show Sheehy may not have been wounded in combat, but had shot himself while grabbing a firearm at a state park. Sheehy's campaign has denied these claims. Montana is a deep red state with Republicans across all levels of government, but the Democratic incumbent Tester has been a blue dot in a red ocean. Polling is showing his chances for keeping the seat aren't slim though. In the most recent Times Siena poll from October 5th through the 8th, Sheehy is winning outside the margin of error with an 8% lead, 52% to Tester's 44%.
Kamala Harris gets support from rapper Eminem. Eminem took the stage in Detroit Tuesday night at a Get Out the Vote rally for Harris. The rapper rarely makes political appearances, but his views of Donald Trump are well known. He has accused the former president of brainwashing his supporters. Eminem wasn't at the rally to perform, but to introduce former President Barack Obama, who actually did a little of performing. Take a look.
Knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on my sweater already, mom's spaghetti. I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready to drop bombs, but I keep on forgetting.
Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla and SpaceX, has started giving away $1 million checks every day to voters in swing states. According to CNN, registered voters in states including Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, and North Carolina may be eligible for a $1 million cash prize if they promise to vote for Trump in November by signing Musk's super PAC called America PAC. America PAC is a pro-Trump super PAC pledging to back the Constitution.
The next thing we'd like to do is to announce today's winner of the $1 million prize. So it's Christine Herschel. Would you like to come up?
Musk's actions are very controversial as federal law prohibits anyone paying people to register to vote. The Public Integrity section of the Justice Department mailed Musk a letter warning the tech billionaire his actions might violate election laws.
We have two special guests in the studio this week, Clayton Cardoso and Maria Suarez, in which Maria Suarez will answer the interview questions in Spanish. These two are members of the Purdue Puentes, here to discuss the organization's mission and the important work they're doing for Latino families in the Lafayette community.
The full interview's just ahead on Watching Washington.
The Center for C-SPAN, which is this organization, the CCSC, what we do is we facilitate like a bunch of organizations, different programs for Brian Lamb, which is the founder of C-SPAN. Anyone can be part of CCSC, whether it be through our various internships, our competitions, just to be involved, even like our student community meetings that we have every week. Anyone can go, you don't have to be communications or poli-sci. You just meet so many people, the connections you make is kind of crazy, the range that CCSC has. So yeah, it's just provided me so many opportunities to like kind of achieve the goals I have personally and forward to like whatever career paths I choose.
Our guests in the studio this week represent the Purdue Puentes Project. Their mission is to help Latino families around the Lafayette area and make their voice heard. Senior Project Assistant Clayton Cardoso-Wentz and Project Assistant Maria Suarez are joining us today. Let's go now to Watching Washington's Regina Ortiz, who is standing by with this week's interview.
Thank you. That's right. Today I'm joined by Clayton Cardoso to discuss the impactful work of the Purdue Puentes Project, a research initiative that focuses on understanding the well-being, stressors, challenges, and strengths of youth from rural, farm worker, and agricultural Latino families. Thank you for being here today, Clayton. So my first question is, give us an overview of what Purdue Puentes does and the end goal you guys have.
Thanks for having me. The idea of Purdue Puentes Project is to study, like you mentioned, the impact of migrant farmers, especially youth, ages between 10 and 15, whenever they come to, especially the rural areas, how that migration affects their studies, their health, their well-being, mental health too. So we do research with them. We do in-field data collection. We go to their houses, and sometimes they go to Purdue Extension Office, and they perform surveys with us. In these surveys, we provide the iPads. They answer the iPads questions, and we also do blood pressure, BPNI, and check blood pressure, weight, height, and also we do focus our questions on how their interactions in the school, with their families, with friends, consuming alcohol, tobacco, all those factors.
Of course. And do you guys think they answer in a truthful way?
Yes, we encourage them. We talk to them in the beginning of the survey, and we try to encourage them and mention that the responses are very impactful for the culture. For example, we are a very multicultural project. I'm originally from Brazil. We have people from Colombia. We have people from Myanmar. We have people from China, Japan. I mean, you name it, we have people from all around the globe. And we try to enforce that all the answers are going to help, especially Latin community migrants that come in the future.
That's incredible. Yeah. And do you guys, other than interviewing the youth, do you interview their parents as well, or only the children? We do interview the kid, the youth, and also one
caregiver. So it can be the father or the mother. And then they both take the surveys. We took a few interviews too with both of them. We do it separately so that way they have privacy to respond, and we get some very true information out of it.
That's great. Great way to collect information, indeed. I know you guys have received funding in the past. What do you guys do with that type of funding? How do you include it in the project?
So this funding is used pretty much on the travel side of it. We go to their houses, we go to the extension office around Indiana, and also to pay our participants to their time, of course, takes money. So they're traveling, spend at least an hour and a half with us, at least for the surveys. And the interviews take about an hour and some change, and they all got compensated too. So the fundings go through the traveling and paying participants.
So once they do the interviews, they get compensated with money or gift cards, or how is it like? And is it the same amount when you interview the parents and the youth? Do you guys give the same compensation, or how does it work?
No, it's different, and it's fun that you mentioned, because we are a longitudinal study. We are on our third year doing, and we are a mixed method too. We do qualitative and quantitative data collection and data analysis. So we also, on the side, to keep the kids engaged, once we meet with them only once a year, so we try to keep them engaged, what we call data bursts. So for data bursts, they got paid with gift cards, Amazon gift cards. The amount is lower, but at least it keeps them engaged. And for the survey, the parents receive a higher amount, and then the youth receive a little less, but still they're compensated for their time, both of them.
Well, of course, it'd be a hard thing to deny if you're getting paid with gift cards. I know you guys started 3 years ago, which you had mentioned. What led to the creation of this project? How did you guys begin this research?
So we felt the lack of support, especially in the Latin community here in the state of Indiana. And both of our PIs, one is Dr. Ruiz, Yumari Ruiz from Public Health, and then Dr. Taylor, Zoe Taylor from HDFS. They decided to start a project because they noticed the lack of that support in the community. And we see the impact along the years that we've been doing this. We're trying to gather more help and support for these communities too along the way. We have 307 families, so it's a lot. Our retaining rate is pretty good, so most of them stay with us for the long run. Like I said, we are going into our third year now, end of our third year, and most of the families are still with us. Remember, they are all around Indiana, so some families even travel, some families move to Texas, Florida, but they're still with us. We do those surveys. Of course, we cannot go there, but we do it online too. So we keep them engaged. That's how much the project is important to the families too. They committed to participating.
That's incredible that you guys maintain a connection after all these years. And do you guys add up families each year, or do you guys still stay with the same families you have started out with?
No, our population is started at 307, and it's going to stay, the maximum number is 307. So let's say if a family decide to withdraw, that family information it's no longer collected, and we're not transferring that family to another family, like let's survey. 307 is our number, and it's going to go 307 till the end of the project.
That's very interesting. So I also know that you've done interviews. A lot of members of Purdue Puentes has done interviews. What's the hardest thing you've learned about their experiences, about their struggles? What's a story you can tell us?
And just a quick note, Anna participated in our project with us, so she was a very good advocate for the project and helped us a lot.
It was a great project. I had a great time working with you guys.
Yeah, so one of the key points that we get from especially the youth interviews is mentioning how much bullying and how much they suffer through especially in their schools, the community not that much, but on their school, like bullying wise.
Like, do they tell you guys what happens to them at the schools? Like what?
Yeah, so most of the time discrimination, just because some kids think they talk a little different, and the discrimination on that side, it's where the bullying starts. And then of course they go home and they talk to their parents, and their parents try to mitigate all the harm that's done, especially for the youth. But that's the biggest point we notice. It's the discrimination.
Of course, that's something hard for the minority groups. I know I've experienced it too. I'm Mexican, so I've heard a lot of things that go against my, ethical background. I know my mom has had a lot of discrimination situations here, so I get how hurtful it can be. So what's one key takeaway from this project? What's something important you have discovered while working with Purdue Puentes?
So one thing that, by the way, I'm from Brazil. I'm originally from Brazil. Not Brazil, Indiana. I heard there's a Brazil, Indiana. It's Brazil, Brazil. But one thing I noticed is we're trying to gather some help, some key information to help these families go through the process of stabilizing, growing, and actually feel part of the community here in the state of Indiana. This is actually part of the Puentes idea at the end, to provide these families with help. And Purdue is a big part of it. Purdue also provide, through the Extension Office, a lot of support to these families. Like they have migration classes, they have English classes, and through the Purdue Puentes, we can also spread those benefits that Purdue offer, and the Extension Office offers in different cities. Frankfurt, for example, they have English classes every Thursday, so that helps a lot.
Very impactful work. So the last question, what actions do you think the city should take to support these struggling families that Purdue Puentes Project has interviewed?
So I think one of the key points is it's making those families feel as part of the community, like engaging, promoting events like multicultural events. You know, it doesn't need to be something local, but like you mentioned, you're from Mexico, I'm from Brazil. You can do multicultural events to gather the community. At the end of the day, we're all living at the same county. We all pay our taxes, so it's just make everybody feel part of this environment. I think that will be very, very helpful.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for the work you do and for the work Purdue Puentes does. That's all the time we have today. Thank you to our guest, Clayton, from the Purdue Puentes Project, for being with us today, and thank you for watching. See you next time on Watching Washington.
Thank you.
Hola y bienvenidos a otra edición de Watching Washington. Soy Regina Ortiz y es viernes 25 de octubre. Estoy con María Suárez. Gracias, María, por estar con nosotros hoy.
Gracias a ti por invitarme.
Gracias. Y cuéntanos un poco de tu experiencia en Purdue Puentes.
Ok. Llevo aproximadamente un año trabajando para Purdue Puentes Project, pues con Purdue. Mi labor allí es, soy la encargada de toda la recolección de datos del proyecto en el que estamos trabajando, y pues ha sido gratificante y enorgullecedor trabajar para finalmente la comunidad de la que pertenezco, que es pues hispana y latina.
¿Y cómo recolectas información con estas familias? O sea, ¿qué haces?
Lo que hacemos es ir directamente a las familias. Nosotros vamos a ellos, principalmente pues generarles como la comodidad a ellos de poder abrirse como para que nos puedan brindar la información que tanto nos interesa y es valiosa, y poder ayudar finalmente pues a la comunidad. Lo que hacemos es trasladarnos a lugares de Indiana, como lo son Frankfurt, Logansport, Monon, En Lafayette también tenemos algunos. Y bueno, nos trasladamos a sus casas o a los centros de extensión de Purdue en estos lugares y allí podemos aplicar de manera cómoda las encuestas o las entrevistas para poder recoger los datos.
¿Qué es lo más, entonces sé que haces entrevistas con estas familias, ¿qué es lo más difícil que has escuchado salir de sus bocas, de sus experiencias? O sea, ¿qué es lo más impactante?
Muchas veces, bueno, como bien sabes, trabajamos con niños y con uno de los padres que cuida pues, de este niño, ya sea su padrastro o su mamá o su papá o su madrastra, pues el que haga parte de la familia. Normalmente en los niños lo que más difícil es como de escuchar es como muchas veces la discriminación que estos niños viven en su entorno escolar y también un poco el tema de la atención que no pueden recibir de sus padres porque normalmente sus padres tienen vidas muy difíciles, pasan por una situación económica muy difícil, situaciones precarias en donde no tienen todos sus recursos y tienen que salir a trabajar bastante para poder conseguir el sustento para su familia. Y por esta razón, pues no pueden estar todo el tiempo al tanto de sus hijos. Entonces, digamos que se quiebra un poco el rol familiar y esto hace que muchos de los niños, pues, muchas de las familias estén un poco quebrantadas por el tema, pues, de la migración.
Entonces, normalmente en estas familias los dos papás trabajan, ¿no? Para mantener a estas familias, ¿o qué es lo que has visto?
Sí, normalmente los dos papás trabajan, muchas veces, digamos, el rol como pareja se pierde entre padre y madre porque finalmente el padre trabaja en la noche, la madre trabaja en el día para poder tener el sustento para llevar a sus familias y pues así un tiempo los niños pasan con uno o con el otro, pero digamos que el tema de la unión familiar pues sí se ve afectada.
¿Y Purdue Puentes está trabajando para poder arreglar esto o cuál es el punto de esta organización? Al final de este research, ¿qué es lo que quieren lograr?
La idea que nosotros pues, tenemos en el proyecto es finalmente recoger estos datos de cómo la migración afecta la salud mental de las familias, finalmente familias, de los niños y padres, cómo se ve afectada la salud mental y sus recursos, y con esto poder analizar esos datos y poderlos entregar a organizaciones que puedan apoyar, digamos, estos recursos que ellos tanto necesitan y que se han visto pues como afectados por todo el tema de la migración. Entonces, digamos que nuestro principal meta es poder captar todo este tipo de factores que hacen impacto a las familias inmigrantes.
¿Y con cuántas familias han trabajado?
En este momento nosotros trabajamos en el proyecto con 307 familias. Algunas familias pues, han desertado por alguna u otra razón, pero son muy pocas. Tratamos de mantener todas las familias hasta el final del proyecto y pues ya estamos trabajando en nuestra tercera ronda.
O sea, han trabajado en esto por ya 3 años,
Sí,
¿no?
durante 3 años y pues se ha hecho una primera ronda, una segunda ronda de información y ya vamos a la tercera.
Y me habías mencionado que estas familias normalmente se mudan. ¿Has tenido familias que se han mudado desde que empezaron esta investigación?
Sí, precisamente hay muchas familias bueno, gran parte de familias que han migrado precisamente por la parte económica, por las oportunidades, por los recursos. Tratamos de mantenerlas de manera online, haciéndoles entrevistas o las encuestas de manera pues online, pues porque no nos trasladamos de Indiana, pero sí tratamos de mantenerlas así de esa manera y todas han podido pues como seguirse manteniendo.
Qué bueno que se mantiene esa conexión.
Sí.
¿Y tú sientes que estas familias sí sienten la importancia de lo que Purdue Puentes hace? O sea, ellos te han dicho tipo, ay, no sé, que este proyecto ha sido importante para ellos, o te han expresado de alguna forma, cierta forma sí o...
La mayoría de las familias sí, por no decir que todas, pero son familias muy agradecidas. Es gente de verdad con un corazón muy lindo, es gente que viene aquí buscando oportunidades y se sienten agradecidos porque finalmente pues se entienden un poco, así muchos no tengan digamos como una visión completa del estudio o lo que se hace, pero sí entienden como que esto los puede ayudar y los puede fortalecer un poco en cuanto a lo que ellos están viviendo y necesitando.
Claro, claro. Yo creo que ese es todo el tiempo que tenemos para hoy. Gracias María Suárez por acompañarnos. Y gracias a ustedes por vernos en Washington.